Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Tech Talk here. Got Charlie here, Head of Professional Services at Qual, and we're joined today by Ian from Marathon IT, and they're just going to go through. Oh, my phone's not turned off. They're just going to go through a couple of everything they do and how they're obviously coping with what's going on out there in the big wide world. So, Ian, I'll let you take over.
Hi guys, thank you Charlie, thank you for letting me come on today, and apologies everyone for my pink shirt that I mistakenly wore. I didn't realise how bright it actually appear on camera. At least you might remember me. So as Charlie said, I work for Marathon Professional Services. We are an IT consultancy. Is basically a small, bespoke, born in the cloud IT consultancy that assists businesses on digital transformation. So we've got three pillars to our business. We've got the IT enterprise projects, security, and managed services. And I just want to give you a bit of flavour for kind of some of the things that we're working on at the moment. I'm going to talk to you about some of the case studies that we've got coming up. And I'm also going to talk to you about some of the things that we're seeing in the market. We're seeing a massive shift over the last few months in the way people work, and in also some of the services that they're consuming in order to enable them to work in those ways. So I guess a bit of the background of Marathon is always quite interesting to start with. So we're a 10-year-old company, and we were formed on the back of a relationship of one of our directors with London Marathon Events. He was basically working with London Marathon before they became the big event that they really are now. And he was running the IT very much as a small unit, and they decided, along with a guy called Dave Bedford, that they wanted to make the London Marathon into something that was a global, worldwide event, and that enabled. IT was an enabler for that, and it basically needed to make sure that they could bring through some of those technology solutions for them. So Paul Hepburn, who's still our CTO, he kind of formed Marathon Professional Services with the aim to service Marathon. On the back of that, we became quite good at working in professional service engagements, and we grew the business out of that environment, really. So I guess the biggest area for us at the moment is managed services, but they all start by talking to a customer about a project or an issue that they have. And I think some of the projects that we're working on in the first pillar I'm going to talk about, which is IT enterprise projects, is everything from that end user IT right through to the data center stack, through to the cloud migrations and those hybrid designs that we're seeing everywhere at the moment. So Marathon are a Microsoft house. We're also an AWS house, and therefore we work in end user IT around those stacks. We've got ability, and we've got kind of the ability to talk across the application stack that sits on a corporate environment, onto an application packaging stack, and I'll touch a little bit on in a minute about why that's important. Looking at operating system upgrades, which is becoming more and more important. There's the manufacturers, whether it's Apple OS or whether it's Windows, are releasing more and more patches to deal with some of these security issues. And then also looking through into some of the UC tools, universal comms tools, which are becoming even more important as collaborative working tools that we've seen over the last few months. The data center stack is core to what we do, whether that's VMware or Microsoft Hyper-V. And then that leads straight through to the cloud stack, where we are experts in Azure, AWS, and we can work on other cloud platforms. We're pretty agnostic as regards to which cloud platform we work on, but we can migrate customers to the cloud, and we can also deal with those hybrid designs. The second pillar of Marathon is security. And Marathon's actually quite a unique player in the security space. We are a cyber essentials practitioner. So you get many of your customers, or many of you end users will understand what cyber essentials with. And it's a certification that many customers decide that they want to go through so that they can prove to their clients or prove to their own internal board that their IT meets some of these cyber security standards. It's a Cyber Essentials is basically a government-backed scheme by the National Cyber Security Centre. And practitioner, which is what Marathon are, is the highest accreditation you can gain in that space. So what that gives Marathon and what it gives our partners that we work with and into their clients as well is that ability to audit and then remediate against any corporate IT environments. So we can come in, we can do the penetration testing for those environments, we can tell them where the issues are in that environment, and we can work with them on a number of plans to fix those, to get them those Cyber Essentials certification. There's 2 levels of certification, Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus, and we work to the higher of those 2, Cyber Essentials Plus. This area of our business has become so important over the last few months. We're seeing a lot of new practices working up around people working from home, and because of that, we're starting to see penetration tests need to be carried out as ports start to open and firewall restrictions have to be relaxed in certain cases. The second part of Marathon security offering, which I think is quite exciting anyway, is really around our accreditation with the police. So around 6 months ago, the UK police force, or as a body, not just the individual police forces that kind of sit in the localities, they realised that they were being asked by more and more customers to investigate cybercrime. And on the back of having to investigate cybercrime, they were realising they were woefully unprepared for having these conversations with customers. And they were also unprepared for having a recommendation for those customers on who they should be speaking to when they're going to be doing some of this remediation work. So they launched something called PDSC, which stands for the Police Digital Security Centre. And they launched a new accreditation where companies like Marathon can become PDSC certified, and that enables the police to know categorically that Marathon is a company that they can suggest to their customers and can suggest to people who have data breaches, security breaches to talk to. We were the first company in the UK to be recognised by that PDSC, and the Police Federation are now happy to stand behind it. I feel quite lucky, I get the word, that we're still only one of 2. There is quite a high standard to get through, but what it gives the customers that are working with us is that assurance that someone within the government has looked into us and said these guys are the right people to be working with. So combining that kind of Cyber Essentials Plus with our PDSC award puts Marathon right at the forefront of providing that IT security advice and the projects to companies. And I guess then the third pillar, which kind of really comes as a result of those IT projects that we do and that security environment that we consult in, is around managed services. And we wrap around projects, we wrap around security offerings to provide managed service platforms and managed security service platforms where customers can come to us and they might want to work, might want us to manage or run elements of their IT. So we can, for example, one customer we work with, we just manage all of their comms. So we manage Office 365, we manage all of their UC comms, and we manage networks and telephony, right through to a full outsource where we're managing everything from their data center right through to their users IT, first, second and third line support. And Marathon's offering around that is 24/7. So we have dedicated teams that sit in offices helping the customers on these first, second and third line calls. So some of the areas that we're working with to kind of bring it to life to you at the moment is we won a project back in November with a global retail fashion expert. I don't know why I can talk about fashion sitting here in my pink shirt.
We love it. We love the pink shirt. It's great colour choice.
But yeah, we're working with this company, and they are a 15,000 seat organisation who are on a digital journey. They want to reborn themselves basically in the cloud, and everything that they consume now has to be in the cloud, has to be agile, and they're at the forefront of some of the things that Microsoft are doing. And we manage levels 1, 2, and 3 for them, and we provide all of their application packaging. We provide all of their Windows Virtual Desktop environment, and we've got that as a 3-year contract. So that's kind of our large end of the scale. But I totally appreciate some of the people who are looking at these feeds might be sitting there thinking, that's not me. I'm not 15,000 people. But we work at 15,000 right down to that 200 seat organisation. So we're currently right in the middle of that stack. We're onboarding one of the UK's largest call centre providers. and that's going to be for 1,500 users. It's the full end-to-end outsource encompassing staff, where we're 2P staff across into our organisation to manage and run those staff for them. We're then going to provide all of this support on all of their hardware, their software, will be their first, second and third line support, and we'll provide project resource out to their clients to enable them to build their business going forward as well. And then the third case study that kind of takes us right down to what I actually call the sweet spot of what we do, which are those organisations of kind of 200, 300, 400 people, where they're not large enough to have those kind of IT support mechanisms in their business, but where they're now finding that they need to have some of those support mechanisms in place. We're on board in a FM company, so facilities management company. And that again is a full outsource. So we're going to be managing all of their field staff. We're going to be managing all of their users in the offices. We are going to have all of their calls coming to us, where we will troubleshoot and manage their desktop, server, backup, network, Wi-Fi, everything, you name it, management. We're going to be doing that for them. So some of the things that we're starting to see as changes in the market at the moment, we're seeing a massive shift, almost backwards, I guess. I've been in the IT industry now for 20 years. I know that for those of you watching this online will look at me and think I only look 23, but I'm actually still feel I can wear pink. But we're starting to see that move back to centralized computer farms, where people are serving virtual desktops out from that. Some of the advantages of doing that is that as we come into some of these different working environments where people are moving more to home working, we're starting to see that those companies that have made those early adopter and those moves into Windows Virtual Desktop or View from Horizon View from VMware aren't having some of those issues that some of the legacy customers who are running everything on-prem are having. They can run their telephony system through some of those Windows Virtual Desktop and Horizon portals, and they're enabling their individual workforce to kind of work on a bring your own device. I think obviously many people know about some of the issues going on at the moment. I think toilet rolls was one thing that I remember people really struggling to get hold of, and laptops was a second thing. And if you're a business that is really reliant on your hardware to service your IT estate, it kind of puts you in quite a weak position. If you're an organisation that's built your environments around a central support organisation which allows you to consume everything out of the cloud, the device becomes less important. Whether you want to work on an iPad, you want to work on your home MacBook, or you get given a corporate device, it all looks the same. And from a security perspective, it addresses many of these security issues that have presented themselves with home workers in the past. The second area that I'm starting to see a lot of changes around that move to outsource service desk. Many customers that have kind of handled help desk and service desk in-house in the past are not prepared for some of the different working environments that we're now finding ourselves into. They're not used to seeing some of the issues that a large IT organisation, support organisation such as ourselves sees on a daily basis. We're very proficient in understanding how to address some of those challenges around access, around provisioning of applications into virtual environments, or right down to how do I print from a virtual environment into my home printing solution. We can talk our customers through those. And obviously that ability to provide that flexible back end is becoming more important for organisations as the technology stack widens and they need to support more and more applications. It's not possible to have that one size fits all model anymore. We've kind of touched on security a little bit, but we're kind of seeing more people having to have third parties run that IT department security and requirement. They want that ability to have the single throat to choke, and they're recognizing that IT security isn't a project that you can put in once and then just leave to run in a corner on an appliance. It's got to require constant process and governance and compliance. And we're able to offer that to our clients right through from endpoint management through to threat protection, penetration testing, and then that remediation and ongoing remediation, because this isn't something that, again, as I said, sits and never needs tweaking. And then I think the fourth thing that we see and is really kind of developing and changing is the network. The network is becoming more and more important for customers. As more data is getting consumed from the cloud and more people are consuming stuff on a SaaS-based model, that need for resilient and capable networking is becoming important. I think for me, again, looking back over my career, 15 years, 20 years in the IT of selling networks and then moving latterly into kind of selling services and cloud providers, networks have changed massively. So they've moved from that a way to transmit data right now through to something that provides the security. But that also needs to adjust and adapt. It's got to be looked at. And we're seeing new players coming into that market and dislodging some of the old players. So we're seeing companies such as Aruba from HP, Ruckus Networks from CommScope coming in, and they're basically providing new ways of networking, new self-learning and AI networks that allow them to configure products remotely rather than having to be on site constantly to kind of service it. I guess from kind of that as an overview of what Marathon do, the kind of call to action for us really is that we're really keen to kind of work with Qual, and we're really keen to work with customers to understand how we can help you on some of those journeys. We work a very consultative model. We talk to our customers about what it is that they're trying to achieve, what their problems are, and then we retrofit the offering around that, and we consult at that software stack layer to make sure we get the outcomes. Mm-hmm. So, Charlie, I guess that's kind of a good overview from my side. Have you guys got any questions that you wanted me to address, or things that I haven't touched on that you thought I should do?
I had a quick question about your data center piece. I just wanted to understand: is that a Marathon IT data center, or is that just you can provide data center services to customers? Just, and obviously you can scale up or scale down whatever you need.
Sure. So Marathon don't have our own data center. And I guess the reason that we don't have our own data center is that we don't see that as strategic to what we do. Okay. Yeah. So customers have their own data centers. There are data center providers out there who can provide space and access. We tend to deploy most of our new environments in the cloud on a SaaS-based consumption model. Therefore, the data center that we offer, or the data center services we offer, is into that client's data center or into their outsourced data center provider. Okay. And there are many millions of customers, many millions of offerings out there that you can consume without me adding another one to the mix.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, sometimes, I know some people haven't quite grasped the cloud bit yet, and they still want to keep things on the ground and kind of keep things where they know where it is and they know where the data is. Especially for things like off-site backups and that kind of stuff, they don't want to push things into the cloud just yet, or they're not quite ready yet, or they've got some stipulations, or I know only certain cloud providers can tell you where your data is going. Some can't. Some just say it's in the cloud, and you don't really know where it is going in the cloud. It could be in the EU. You never know where it could be going.
The world, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. No, your security piece sounded really interesting. Is there a particular vendor that you're using to do those kind of pieces, or is it just dependent on whatever's available and whatever ticks the box?
So from a Cyber Essentials certification perspective, it's a practice. Okay, so it's a methodology that we do for penetration testing, and it's a set of bespoke tools that we've developed for our offering. When we come to the remediation work, we work with, again, best of breeds for those vendors out there in the security space. So we can work around products the customer already has, or we can work around products the customer doesn't already have, where they ask us to suggest products that they might need to use.
Right, okay, and then you can obviously pick and choose whichever product fits that kind of space.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That sounds amazing. Are you guys using any of the? Are you guys doing anything clever with AI? Has Marathon done sort of investing in anything sort of AI technology to kind of help its products and help its sort of managed service things at the moment?
Really honest. The AI space around managed service providers and service providers, it's very focused around bespoke companies. So when we get an AI requirement, we'll partner. We're very honest about what we can and can't do, and that isn't in our skill sets. So we tend to not go near it.
Yeah. No, I know it's a huge world. I know everyone's trying to tag onto the AI, and if someone says they do AI, they sound cool, and it's what everybody wants to be doing. But there's obviously a big cost to it, and there's obviously a lot of there's a lot of backing needed to kind of get it off the ground and get it to kind of do what you really want it to do, and be really clever about it as well. And you need some clever people to.
Yes.
Not saying that Marathon don't have those kind of clever people. It's just that I can imagine it's going to be it's a long road to kind of get you there. But obviously, when you get there, it's kind of you reap the rewards.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. That's really good, Ian. That's given us a huge amount of information about Marathon. It's kind of told us exactly what we wanted to know. And obviously, yeah, guys. Obviously, we'll be working with Marathon. So if you've got any questions or just checking now, see if you've got any sort of questions you want to ask us or ask Ian, feel free to come to the Qual website, fire us a question, and then we can obviously get in touch, and we will find out more about what you're after. But yeah, that's really good stuff. Thank you, guys. Ian, have you got anything? Have you got any? Are you guys doing anything? Any promos at the moment, or anything kind of regarding sort of the situations at the moment, trying to help people with kind of working from home and obviously.
For those customers that have got access into Microsoft EA contracts, we are doing work around EGIF funding, so investment funds, where customers can access some of that Microsoft free money to get some of these pilots in. So again, but that it comes out of the consultative conversations with your clients. So I would encourage clients to reach out to Qual, or account managers to reach out to your clients and talk to them about what are they trying to achieve. Then come back and talk to us and see if Microsoft have got access to some of these EGIF that we can liberate for them.
Okay. Yeah, sure. No, we're definitely I'll definitely let our boys know to kind of to see what's going on, get some conversations happening, and then we'll take it from there and see if anybody's interested. I'm sure there are. I know people are trying to do what they can at the moment with obviously keeping costs down, making sure everybody's still functioning, but at the same time, obviously businesses are still running and things are still happening in the background. So it's trying to get that sweet spot, whereas you can still do stuff, you can still work, but yet everything's still trying to run as smoothly as possible without anything breaking.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ian, I think that's all we've got time for. And then I can't see anybody asking any questions, but that's awesome. But thank you very much for that, Ian. That's fantastic. So I will end us there. But guys, have a good one. It's a lovely day out there. Get outside and enjoy some sun. And we will see you in a couple of weeks for another Tech Talk.